Hello everyone, today I want to show you guys another idea of mine that I've come across the past recent days, and it's basically about market auction theory or whatever you want to call it. It basically explains how the market moves, and also in this video I will explain which indicator you'll be using to use this theory as an as your edge, and this indicator is basically also the essence of this strategy or this theory, I would even say. So I'll be discussing the volume profile indicator, and also I will show you some examples. So yeah, so what is auction or liquidity auction theory is basically explains where how market moves, and market can move in two ways. It can consolidate like this, and it can go move to another place, consolidate, move back, consolidate, move up, consolidate. So it can move up and down, but basically what you have is two things: consolidation, and in this theory you call it balanced area, fair value area. This is the real fair value. And what happens in this area is basically price. Uh, this is the price area where buyers and sellers are in equal distribution. And in this area, a lot of price action happens, can make a lot of money. A lot of people put their buys or long orders on the boundaries of these areas. So you can basically profit in between these areas, which is very nice. You can make a lot of money. Another way is you can basically trade these imbalances, right? So you have an imbalance. Eventually, what happens in this area, one of the buyers or sellers, you have some kind of turnover where one of the two parties gets the majority of the vote, and then suddenly everyone agrees that, for example, this area is actually the price in around this area is actually cheap. So what happens? A lot of people start buying, and what happens to the price? It moves up, and this is what you call a very strong imbalance. Some people call it an impulse. And what happens is you have a very strong impulse from this area, and this is where also supply and demand comes from. So this would be called a supply zone, or an area demand zone, supply zone, whatever you call it. And high probability trade could be here if you look for an retracement. Same happens on the downward. Yeah? If you price is high, for example, the majority can decide that price is too expensive. So people start selling, right? Start short, and it moves price. And what happens? Usually, what you see is price comes back to the previous area of fair value, and people start buying in again because it's cheap relatively to the previous high, right? So this is how price can interact with each other. And there are many ways to interpret this. There are many other ways to talk about, to think about this, but I won't be discussing this, as concept is also new for me. Right, so let's remove this drawing and let's go over a couple charts. So whenever you're so I'm going to show you how to use it as an investing idea, an investing tool, and also show you in this video why it's not everything. So let's say price was at an all-time high. Most people can agree at an all-time high, it be here or here, it's probably not a good place to enter. Maybe for DCA it's fine if you believe in this company. In this case, this company is called ASML. Very, very, very strong position. Very strong company, right? But most people wouldn't buy it at the all-time high. So what will you do? You will wait for a pullback. Where is price fair? And when price is fair, you usually talk about balanced area, right? So where do we find this balanced area? You use a volume profile indicator. So volume profile indicator, it essentially tracks all the previous orders that has been done in the past in wherever you want to see it in the chart, right? So in this case, and then in this case it portrays it as a bar chart, and then you have these kind of like humps, and these humps are basically where these buy and sell orders are the most dense, where it's most dense, and they come in all shapes and form. You have very small nodes like this, or you have very misshaped misshaped humps. We also have very beautiful humps like this. And then again, you have these strong peaks again, strong peak again. These are also interesting areas. But off the bat, you can tell that probably the most interesting area to buy is around this area. And you can fine tune it. You can apply supply and demand. You can check, okay, this area is interesting. Let's go on a smaller time frame. Let's find more specific places, right? Oh, I'm spoiling already a bit when what's happening. You can fine tune it a bit. You can see, oh, here's our here I see a bit interesting buy orders. Um, oh, fuck, it's not working. Okay, here, boom, 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 and boom, something like this. And what you can do in this strategy is, for example, say, okay, I want to be defensive. Let's take the lowest volume area. I think from all these fair value areas or balanced areas, I think that I want to be the more defensive player. And let's see what happens. I'm gonna put a buy order here. Holy shit! You just got the jackpot. So you can see how you can use this. So currently, right now, but you could have also used it in a different way. You can say like, let's put all buy orders in a linear position. So 200 euros, 200 euros, 200 euros, 200 euros. You can buy them. You can buy it all in the downward move, right? So that could have been a way. And it's not everything, guys. If it went below, then it can also fuck you over. So you need to be prepared for all scenarios. So right now, let's see, how would you do it for right now? You will do the same thing again. You will probably not take this area as well. You will just take from this sweep to this sweep. Same shit. Fair values here. Okay, so now probably an interesting area to buy is probably in this area again. So what will be the most logical sense is probably not buy here and wait until price comes to a fair value. Let's say you believe this company is gonna do very well this year. You can be more aggressive. Let's say you work at ASML or you have a lot of, you track ASML, you think, I cannot wait this long. I think price from this point is already going to go higher. That's also fine. What you can do is you can do it more locally. You can track it from the latest swing. So you can go from here to here. Same shit. However, we see a bit more detail. We see that actually right now, this area, we are also in a fair value zone. Huh? So this fair value zone is very interesting. You can fine tune it again. Oh wait, we have see something interesting. Oh, let me delete. Oh shit. Right. So we're gonna go on a shorter time frame. We're gonna analyze this area. Let's go to the daily. Same thing. Same thing. Same shit. This, the highest point of control, this is where the highest volume is, would have been an interesting entry. You could have bought it here. If you say like this year is gonna be amazing, I'm 100% sure this would have been. Same shit here. You can be defensive as well. You can say, okay, I think this area is quite interesting. Look, if you already invested here, or you do want to be in the middle, you can say, okay, I didn't want to invest there. Let's do this area, right? This area is interesting to invest. I think it's fair play, right? So let's put an order here. In my opinion, I think in the past experience, I think this area is much interesting since this is, if we base it on supply and demand, and this is a supply and demand strategy, you see here should be a lot of supply. So this will be also an area to invest. You can be more defensive. You can say, I want to be here. But why do I not want to be here? You have to have your own strategy. So why I wouldn't take a trade here, because I follow market structure as well. So here we have the low, high, higher low, higher high. So the most logical option is not to break this structure here. You don't want to have a break of structure and look for something here. That's probably not logical. So I would put my trade definitely here. So if you would be an investor for ASML, probably this would be an interesting area to buy. This would have been an impossible entry as well. But be careful. You don't want to allocate everything. This also, you want to be really defensive, but you would want to have this one in your portfolio sooner or later. This could have been very interesting. And now you can even combine it. You can combine it with something else. What do we see? We see it. We see a volume area from the previous past. This was some fair value area from the past. It still interacts up until this day. So you can see there are many ways to interpret this, many ways to use it, but in general, what you want to be doing is chasing for fair value. Where are these fair values? Yeah, that's also subjective to everyone. This tool can make it more quantitative, right? So if you're, we can take another chart. Let's do Nike. Nike is quite interesting, right? So your first question here, whenever you look at a chart, is it fair value? Is where the price where this stock is at? Is it at a balanced area? Is this where a place where buyers and sellers are equally distributed? That's where you will be looking for any potential buying opportunities or investing opportunities. So let's do it here. Let's say this didn't exist. Straight off the bat, you could have already tell this is an interesting area to buy. And look at that. Price reacted to this area. Fair value. A lot of people consider this fair value or balanced area a cheap opportunity. So what happened is price entered this balanced area and people decided, hey, this is a previous balanced area. It is quite cheap relatively compared to the previous high. This could be a buying opportunities. However, right? However, you can take the bottom of this fair value area. So this could have, if you want to fine tune it a bit, this can be an interesting area to buy. The point of control can be interesting to buy. So these are still buying opportunities. Do you want to buy now? Do you think this area is now the new balance area? That's for you to decide. So let's see if that's the case. So how we'll do it probably is like this. So actually what we already see is fair value is in this area, and we see price coming in, leaving out. So probably, in my opinion, here you can look for a lot buying opportunities here as well. Slight buying opportunities, but following market structure, it's not a logical opportunity by now. Because what do we see? We see a high, low, high, low. So so we have a high here. What's the logical outcome? We're probably looking for lows, right? So you're probably here. So what will be interesting? So how do we validate this area? To validate this area, probably a good way what we want to see is to reverse this trend. So we want to reverse this trend. We want to continue sideways for a while. Then even show some indication of hints of breaking out this fair value area, then coming down for the retracement and then a pullback. So this will be the opposite scenario, and with that could turn this stock into an interesting buying opportunity. Well, I cannot lie. Actually, Nike right now is probably quite interesting, right? So it already entered this fair value area. People according to the technicals, it was already not a really this is already considered a pretty cheap price opportunity, but we'll just have to see what happens here. So price actually in a way rejected this area, saying that it kind of screams at you like this area right here, this balance area is probably cheap for the market for most buyers, and people thought there's more interesting to buy. So I want to show you a last example. And this is a very interesting example. And this is something, let's go to PayPal. Because PayPal right now is actually currently on my watch. Why? If we go to this, we see price is now at a balanced area, right? Now, if we go to a lower time frame, let's delete this. We already know lower time frame. We go from here and here. Actually, what do we see happening? We see price losing its momentum, and we see price actually leaving this this boundary, or whatever you want to call it, boundary or edge. I don't know what to call it, but we see some kind of like indication of price is actually a bit cheap, right? So price leaves kind of this fair value area, and for me, I would say this is probably the area until here for fair value. Maybe you can do it here. For me, it's here, and we can see like some kind of like buying opportunities, like more buyer interest. People are more interested to buy, and now it pulls back. This could have been a great buying opportunity. So I will be buying here. Now it comes back again here. So majority mainly because of this kind of subtle indication. Do we see something like this? Yeah, that's kind of like the opposite direction. So that's actually a kind of risk you take. So I hope you guys also understand that this is not everything, but it at least gives you some tool to give some kind of edge of the market. So I think this is a very interesting buying opportunity right now. Uh, it's a good way to analyze where price should be balanced. Is it overvalued? There are many ways to use this. You can even use it as a trading, but for me, investing is a bit more easy. Yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully it gives you some idea. So good luck. See you guys.